Welcome to the Questionable Botanist. I'm Frank McDonough from the Arboretum of Los Angeles County, and this is the Questionable Botanist, where we answer your plant questions. Today, I'm not going to be answering plant questions. I'm going to be looking at plants. You might be wanting to come here over the weekend, and you might want to know what the heck is blooming here at the Arboretum. So I'm going to show you a few things. There's a lot of things blooming where right now it is the middle of March, and things are starting to ramp up for an April crescendo. What we're looking at right now is Sulphora secundiflora, also known as the mescal bean. Very beautiful ornamental. Has a fascinating history too. It's a very beautiful plant. Produces a very ornamental bean, which is also very poisonous. So you have to keep that in mind if you decide to use this as an ornamental. This is here in our cactus and succulent section at the Arboretum, cactus and succulent display garden. And in it we have a lot of low water use plants, a lot of them from Mexico and the Southwest that do well with minimal water. Now they don't take as minimal a water as, say, plants from the South African collection or even the Madagascar section, but low water use for most homes here in Los Angeles area. We have another beautiful blooming plant over here. This is Tacoma Sunrise. This is almost always in bloom. That's it right there. Tacoma Sunrise here at the Cactus and Succulent Garden. This plant is a family of plants that has a lot of trumpet-shaped flowers. It's the Bignoniaceae, or the trumpet vine family. In fact, we're going to be showing you a tree that's in the Bignoniaceae a little bit later on that's coming into bloom, and the Arboretum looks really beautiful. We'll show you that a little later on. Next, we're going to go to our water-saving garden, our dry area garden. It used to be called the drought-tolerant garden. The term drought-tolerant isn't really acceptable. These do well with watering every 1 to 2 weeks. That's Arctatus, a daisy-like plant from South Africa. Low water use, blooms in the spring like this, beautiful blooms. This is Aromophila. This is from Australia. Aromophila is also known as emu bush, because emus have been known to eat berries these things produce. They're considered edible by Aborigines in Australia. I've never tried one. And if you remember, I identified a Peruvian lily for somebody who had brought it in on photograph. This is in one of the last installments. And I found one growing, or a set of them, growing here at the Arboretum. Here they go. This is Scilla peruviana. Peruvian Scilla. Look at that. Just a gorgeous plant. This is a cluster of them here. These are bulbs, and they bloom right about now. Fairly low water use. As long as you have a regular rainy season, you shouldn't have to give these additional water. We still have a few things blooming up over here. This area here is, I guess we call it our wedding garden. By the way, we rent for weddings. If you are planning on having a wedding here at the Arboretum, or having a wedding, check out the Arboretum. If you go to our webpage, under Visit, you will find all kinds of information about having weddings here. Anyway, we still have some. These would be considered early spring bloomers, but they're still blooming. This looks like an ornamental peach. I don't have the variety on it. Very beautiful. And this is an Alexandrina magnolia, just blooming up a storm. Now, if you're in the Los Angeles area, you're probably in Hollywood, West LA, anywhere near the hills where there's a lot of trees. You may be smelling this beautiful orange blossom-like scent that seems to give you the fix, because you can't see what kind of tree it's coming from. Well, I can tell what kind of tree it's coming from. It's coming from a tree known as Pittosporum undulatum. How's that for a couple of fancy $5 Latin words? Well, pittosporums are well known in the landscape industry. They're very tough and hardy shrubs. They're actually somewhat low water use. You can get them down to once a week on the watering. This particular pittosporum is very low water use. Doesn't require a lot of additional water once established. And around this time in the spring, it bloomed. Now, the thing about the blooms is they're not very conspicuous, except for their smell. They have a very deep jasmine-like scent, and you can smell it for up to 1/8 of a mile away. And here they are. You can see they're pretty small. This is Pittosporum undulatum. And they call it undulatum, of course. Look at there. Look at the leaf edges. They're undulating leaves. Pittosporum undulatum is named because of its undulating leaves. Let's take a wide look at this, see what we have here. See how big these get. Now, this is an older specimen. The specimen's at least 20 to 30 years old. And it's a pretty big size. Now, a lot of the Pittosporum undulatums in Los Angeles were planted in the 20s, 30s, very early on. Most landscapers, they do not plant Pittosporum undulatum because it has a big drawback, and that is it drops these capsules that open up, they dry out, open up, and they're like walking on tacks. I used to, I had a place I rented in Pasadena, had one of these trees in front of it. I forgot about the pod one day, went out and got the paper. Boy, that was a day I still remember. Over here, this is our tropical greenhouse. Here, all kinds of neat stuff. There's a cacao tree, Theobroma cacao. It does produce chocolate pods and chocolate beans. Over here is a Dendrobium delicata, beautiful orchid in the Dendrobium genus of Orchidaceae. There you go. And look at the beautiful blooms on that baby. We pull a lot of orchids out here. And we pulled them out from our collection of orchids. We have about 3,000 different types of orchids. And we'll pull the best out. Now, these are oncidiums. There are two types of oncidiums. Some oncidiums are great houseplants. This one right here, this oncidium, is a good houseplant compared to this oncidium, which is, now why is that? Well, some oncidiums are from the dry rainforests of Mexico, where they have to get through considerable drought at times. And you can tell that you have one of those with the narrow leaves. Notice the narrow leaves right there? And also the flowers tend to be a lot smaller. These things will produce at least once, maybe twice a year on the flowers. Usually once, but they're very hardy indoors as long as you give them plenty of light. These, on the other hand, same genus, much bigger flowers as you can see. But look at the foliage, it's huge. And that foliage looks somewhat like a Phalaenopsis. Now, you can grow these indoors if you treat them like Phalaenopsis. You give them lots of humidity. Now, you can do that with a humidity tray. That's just a hot bottom that's filled with pea gravel, half filled with water. Look at that. That looks like another Dendrobium. I'm not exactly sure. And, of course, more of these Dendrobium delicatus. And these are actually work well outdoors in the coastal areas. And they will produce a very beautiful scent. One time we brought these out to the Peacock Cafe, and it just smelled fantastic. It's been a great year for Cymbidiums. Cymbidiums require some cold, and this year they got the cold. So you can see they're blooming up a storm. Right there. There's our Cymbidiums. And this is the walk between the greenhouse 1, the tropical greenhouse, and our Nepenthes greenhouse. We have a really neat collection of tropical Nepenthes. These are pitcher plants. They're carnivorous plants. Let's take a look at them. What the heck? Yes, let's take a look at the Nepenthes. Right over here is, look at that. That's our pitcher plant. This is bicuculata, Nepenthes bicuculata. And you can tell it's that by the kind of unicorn spine that comes off the top. particular Nepenthes is symbiotic with species of ant, and it will, part of its tendril will swell